The ancient Greek poet Homer called olive oil liquid gold. And today, a little drizzle can still dazzle. Like fine wine, premium olive oil can bring a complexity of flavors to the table and create a real taste sensation. The roots of the olive tree stretch far into the past. For thousands of years, people have harvested its fruit and crushed it with stones to extract the precious yellow oil. In those early days, olive oil wasn't just used in food. It fueled lamps and was a medicinal ointment. Today's thriving olive groves are living proof that our appetite for olive oil hasn't waned. When green olives turn a violet red, they're ripe and ready for harvest. Workers shake the olives off the branches with vibrating rakes. The olives fall onto nets spread beneath the trees. They funnel the harvested olives into the factory. They fall down a chute into a large vat of pure water. A hose suctions the olives and water into a vibrating bin. It separates out leaves and twigs as the water drains away. The cleaned olives now bounce merrily on their way toward the crusher. A few centuries ago, the crusher was a donkey-powered apparatus. Today, a motor drives 1,300-pound granite wheels to grind the olives, pits and all, into a paste. Once the paste reaches the desired consistency, it's over to a computerized system that regulates the temperature of the paste as an auger mixes it. This separates the oil from the paste, making it easier to extract with this machine. Traditional extracting techniques involve spreading the paste on mats and then stacking them to press out the oil. This system is more high-tech. Rows of metal plates dip into the paste and the oil adheres to them. A spin in a centrifuge separates the residual paste from the oil. The result is virgin olive oil. A sample of every batch goes to the testing room, where there's a guy who has a nose for the job. He inhales the olive oil's aroma. Like a glass of fine wine, it should have a certain bouquet and should taste intensely fruity. If the olive oil makes the grade with this tester, the entire batch is ready for packaging. The packaging process is entirely automated, ensuring it's all done hygienically. A conveyor funnels these tins into line for a filling. A mechanized system then feeds the olive oil directly from big tanks into the tins. A measuring device controls the amount that goes into each one. At the next station, equipment spins and curls a metal disc around the lip of the container to put the bottom on the can. The conveyor flips the can around so it lands right side up, ready to pack. They package the premium grade oil in bottles. They use dark glass to protect the oil from the sun's ultraviolet light, which could cause olive oil to degrade and lose intensity. After an automated fill-up, they cap the threaded necks of the bottles. Machinery press fits and then screws the caps on for an airtight seal. Equipment then glues and applies the labels to the bottles. Preserved and protected, this olive oil is now on its way to the store shelf and ultimately to the table, where it's sure to kick up the flavor factor.
Canola oil is a commonly used type of cooking oil. It's derived from the seed of the canola plant, which North American farmers have been growing for about 30 years. The plant blooms in the summer, producing bright yellow flowers. Farmers harvest the seeds from pods, which form after those flowers die off. Canola oil is one of the healthiest cooking oils. Compared to olive, sunflower, and soybean oils, it has the lowest level of saturated fat, 7%. It also contains more healthy omega-3 fatty acids and is high in monounsaturated fat, which lowers cholesterol. When the canola seed arrives at the processing factory, it contains foreign material, mostly plant pieces. So the first step is to clean the seed in a vibrating sieve. The seeds, smaller than the openings in the sieve's mesh, fall through to a conveyor below. The foreign material remains on top. A conveyor moves it to a storage bin where it's collected for sale as cattle feed. The seeds pass by a magnet. It removes any metal that may have fallen in during the journey from field to factory. Next, the seeds enter a roller mill. They pass between two steel rollers, which crush them into thin flakes. A conveyor then feeds the flakes into a screw press. It has a large revolving screw-shaped shaft enclosed within a slotted cage. As the shaft turns, its threads squeeze the flakes with high pressure, forcing out the oil, which then drains out through the slots. 42% of canola seed is oil. This screw press extracts nearly 3/4 of that. The remainder is still trapped in the pressed flakes, now referred to as canola cake. The cake exits the other end of the press and moves on to a second extraction. This one, a 70-minute wash with a solvent. This chemical extraction process removes all but a trace of oil. The factory then grinds the cake into protein-rich meal, which it sells as animal feed. The extracted oil, stored in large tanks, now enters the refining phase. First, they wash the oil for 20 minutes with sodium hydroxide. During this wash cycle, they spin the oil at high speed so that the centrifugal force separates the natural impurities, which the factory later sells to soap manufacturers. After this cleaning process, the canola oil is visibly clearer. However, it still contains natural waxes, which make it look cloudy. So the next step is to cool the oil to 5 degrees Celsius. This thickens those waxes so they can be filtered out. The waxes don't go to waste either. The factory uses them to produce vegetable shortening. In the factory's lab, technicians recreate production on a small scale to ensure performance and quality. Meanwhile, back in the factory, after washing and filtering the oil, they bleach it to lighten the color, then use a steam injection heating process to remove the canola odor. The oil is now fully refined and ready for bottling. The equipment first turns the plastic bottles upside down and injects filtered pressurized air to blow out any dust or dirt inside. Then it turns the bottles right side up again to position for filling. Just before a nozzle starts filling, it applies a vacuum. If there's no suction indicating a leak in the bottle, the machine automatically ejects that bottle from the line. Each bottling machine in the factory fills 22,000 bottles per hour. The labeling machines work at the same speed. They spread glue on the back of each label, then apply the label's edge to the bottle. The bottle spins, wrapping the rest of the label around itself. As the bottles come off the labeler, a robot separates them into groups of 12. Then it picks up and deposits each dozen in a shipping box. From field to factory to your pantry, where once opened, canola oil has a shelf life of about a year.